Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Got a lot to cover in this video. I'm going to talk about Oshkosh, the new pits, and the Super Duty. So get some snacks and a drink and stick around. So this is the 23rd year that my dad and I have gone to Oshkosh together. And the last few years we've started volunteering more. And we always volunteer over at the Tri-Motor. We work as part of the ground crew. Now we got started volunteering with the Tri-Motor because I think it was about 4 years ago, a friend of mine who is the president of the EAA chapter also flies the Tri-Motor. And he gave me a call one day at Oshkosh because they were short a co-pilot and they wanted to know if I wanted to come and fly the Tri-Motor for about an hour. So of course I said yes. And it was a lot of fun. I didn't get to take it off or land it or anything like that, but I did get to steer it around in the air for a little bit, so it was kind of fun. But ever since then, we've just been going back and volunteering as part of the ground crew. Now it seems like every year we're spending more and more time over at the Tri-Motor volunteering, but it is a lot of fun. We meet a lot of good people, and it's just something fun to do at Oshkosh. Now I didn't take my camera with me to make an Oshkosh video because I don't like to spend my week running around working. I just want to enjoy Oshkosh and spend time with my dad and do the things that we do there. But I will show you some of the things I bought and some of the things I came home with. Now I've mentioned previously that one of my favorite things to do at Oshkosh is stock up on hardware. And this is what I bought this year. And I just kind of get some random things. I got some nut plates, some just various sizes of bolts. I got some plastic washers. And I got these dimpled washers and the screws because this is probably what I'm going to use to hold the cowl onto the fuselage on the Super Duty. Just got some other nuts there. I got some cotter pins for wheels, and I kind of guessed on the size, so I'm hoping those are the right size. Just some various little sheet metal screws for fairings. And then I got these little things here because one of the things I'm going to do with my Super Duty is make a baggage pod for the bottom, sort of like the kit Foxes have. And I can put these in the bottom of the fuselage and then weld together some rods and stuff that'll hold the baggage pod on. Now I love to collect and read books, and specifically books on World War II and Vietnam, and more specifically aviation books on World War II and Vietnam. And I seem to buy these books faster than I can read them. Every time I get something on Amazon, a new book will pop up and I'll see it. And I do judge books by their covers. So if it's got a nice cover on it, it looks interesting, I'll buy it. I'll put it on my bookshelf and eventually I will read it. Now, all of the books on this bookshelf I've probably only read half of them, or maybe even less than half of them. So I've got enough books to last me a lifetime here. But like I said, I still buy them. So I'll show you a few more books that I bought this year. All right, first, do you guys remember this jacket I showed you in a previous video? It's kind of a cheap, fake imitation World War II leather jacket, but it's from a PBY squadron. And on that video, somebody had commented that that's an actual squadron. So I looked on Amazon for books on the PBY, and this is the book I'm currently reading right now. And it's actually a collection of stories on different PBY crews and how they used this airplane in World War II. Really interesting, but about halfway through this, after this is done, the hardest thing is to pick which book I want to read next. Well, these are the new books that I bought while I was at Oshkosh. They all look very interesting. Now this book here, I'm guessing probably most of you guys have read this book because it's kind of a famous book. I've actually never read it. So I saw it in the Warbirds bookstore and I wound up buying it. And then I didn't know until after I bought it, but it's actually signed. So I bought a signed copy of To Fly and Fight. Very cool. Well, one of the things I've been doing in my hangar here is on this cabinet, I've been putting stickers down the middle. Just interesting stickers that I find along the way. I got a new one here that I've put on here that was given to me at the Zenith dinner at Oshkosh. And I've got a new one here from Tony Kirk. Now, Tony Kirk is the guy that bought my RV. If you haven't been here for a while, just to fill you in real quick, years ago I built an RV7 and I didn't finish it. I built it up to what would be about the quick build stage. All the tail feathers were done, the wings, the fuel tanks, ailerons, flaps, the back half of the fuselage and then the forward half of the fuselage, but I hadn't yet joined them together. So I did most of the riveting on the airplane, and then I sold it to Tony, and of course Tony finished it up and did all the detail work to it, and he wound up winning a bronze Lindy this year at Oshkosh. So I joke with him, I said, that's probably the closest I'll ever get to winning an award at Oshkosh. These are my two newest stickers. And then over here I have just some of the other stickers that I've put on here a while ago. And all of these are magnets that I've managed to collect over the years at Oshkosh. You might have noticed in the background in some of my other videos, I have these patches hanging on the wall here behind my workbench. And most of these are from my squadrons that I was at in the military. Some of them, like this one here, I just bought. This is an F4 patch. So some of them don't have any significance to me other than I thought they were cool. So a couple new ones I bought this year was the International Aerobatics Club. I bought this one because I didn't know I already had that one, so now I have two. And then just as a note, this F-35 patch here, last year at Oshkosh, I had a little meetup at my airplane when I flew in. And somebody gave that to me who actually worked at the factory building the F-35. So that's a pretty cool patch there. And then my newest ones I bought a Zenith patch, and I bought this Warbirds of America patch. So that kind of adds to my patch collection on my wall. Okay guys, don't worry. One more thing I'm going to show you, and then we'll get down to business with the airplanes. I just wanted to mention real quickly the Veterans Museum that's in Oshkosh. It's right outside of Camp Scholler. Now, in 23 years, we have never ever been there. And this year we decided to stop by. It's a small museum, but it's really neat. They've got some really interesting things in there. It's free to get in, and then they accept donations. But I want to show you two posters I bought while I was there. All right, I thought these posters were really nice. This poster here was $8, and it's a real nice picture of an F-86. And then we got this one here. This one was $10, and it's a picture of a scramble to an F-100. So real nice posters, very cheap, and eventually I'll get these framed and hung up on the wall. All right, the last thing I should mention before we go is the Zenith banquet dinner. And that was a lot of fun. It was really nice for me to get to meet a lot of the viewers of this channel. So thanks for saying hi. And what's interesting, it seems like most people I talked to seem to be building the cruiser. There were some 701 builders, there was a couple Stoll builders, and I think one or two Super Duty builders, but it seems like most people were building the cruiser. So leave a comment down below on what airplane you're building, because I know there are people that watch this channel that are building, you know, basically every other airplane out there, a Sonex or a Kit Fox or a Vans or whatever. It's not just Zenith builders on this channel. I would add that if you have any interest at all in building a Zenith airplane, next year, make sure you get to the Zenith banquet dinner, because it's just a great place to talk to a lot of Zenith builders and flyers. All right, guys, what do you want to talk about next? Is it Super Duty or the pits? Let's talk about the Super Duty, because there's nothing like going to Oshkosh and getting super motivated to come home and get back to work building. I did finish up both sides now for my rudder cable exits. So these are finished and filled and sanded and just ready for primer and paint. And I also finished riveting on these angled pieces back here. And these are what really stiffen up the back of this, because without that angle in there, you just have the flimsy skin. So these are riveted on and complete. One of the things you're going to want to remember when you're riveting this on is not to put this rivet in, because these four holes here will have your rudder stop riveted there. So don't put a rivet in the very bottom until your rudder stop is in place. You'll also notice that I have not put a rivet in the very top here. Now, most people would probably already have all of these rivets in place, and then you're fine to go ahead and rivet this one. But let me grab a fairing I made, and I'll show you why I don't have those riveted yet. All right, this is just a simple aluminum fairing that I made to go on here. And when the horizontal stabilizer and the elevator are installed, this closes this big, huge gap that lets air flow through there. So it kind of seals it off and looks better, and I think it does make an aerodynamic difference because the air isn't flowing sideways in there. So what I'll do is I'll paint this separately than this, and then I'll rivet it together. So as you can see, that's why I don't have this rivet in the top one there. If you guys watched a short teaser video I posted about a week ago, you know that I now have the Super Duty wings in position alongside the fuselage. And once I get a few people together, these wings are ready to lift up, put up next to the fuselage, and drill the hole in the rear spar. There are a few things I need to do to the struts yet before we do that, but that's what I'm going to be working on next. In order to free up as much room as possible to give myself room to work with these wings on the Super Duty, I wanted to take my original pits and remove it from the hangar. That was a process. Because I now have a pits to fly, I've decided to take apart my original pits, and I'm going to fully restore it later on, but the first step in getting it out of the hangar was to remove the top wing. With the rudder and the top wing removed, I enlisted the help of these two clowns to help me remove the bottom wings. Now with the wings removed, the tricky part is to find a spot to store them. My living room is already filling up with airplane parts, so I need to find a different room to put the wings. And now I have airplane wings in my bedroom. We're not done quite yet though. The next step is to get the fuselage out of the hangar and into the garage. Getting rid of that pits freed up a lot of room in this corner. I'm rearranging some workbenches. I'm going to need that workbench to work on the struts. And now, look at all this room I have. We'll easily be able to maneuver around here. We'll get a few people together, lift up these wings, and get them attached to the Super Duty fuselage. Well guys, it looks like we're out of time on this video to talk about the new pits, so we'll leave that for the next video. But I will leave you with some footage I took of the new airplane. Enjoy.